Good afternoon. Welcome to the NCAA March Madness postgame press conference featuring the Iowa Hawkeyes. We're going to start from hearing from our coach, Fran McCaffery, followed by Luka Garza. Thank you for participating today. We will now begin with an opening statement from you, Coach, and then we're going to go to questions.
I just want to begin by congratulating Dana and Oregon for a well-played game. Congratulate them as they move forward. And I just want to say how proud I am of our guys for the way they fought today and the way they fought all year long. I also just want to say that if anybody's wondering why I didn't go back with Connor and CJ, neither of them are healthy, and I didn't want to put them back in there. So that's why I left them out the whole second half. They've been gutting it out all year, both of them with injuries, and I'm really proud of them both. And we'll get them healthy in the off season.
All right, thank you, Coach. First off, I want to ask everyone, if you do have a question, please use the raise hand function to indicate that you would like to ask that question. And then I'm going to also ask you to please introduce yourself and identify who you are with. So we are going to start today with John Schaefer. John, I'm going to ask you to please unmute and introduce yourself. Thank you.
John Schaefer, WOI. Fran, what can you say about the legacy Luka Garza has left behind? Again, he comes out today and puts up nearly half your points. He was the ultimate competitor up till that last moment of taking him out.
Yeah. The only thing I can say is I have been truly blessed to have had the opportunity to have Luka be on our basketball team for the last 4 years. His leadership, his work ethic, his determination, his example for the young players, his consistency of effort and performance. We may never see another one like him. Certainly, we've had some great ones that have worn the black and gold. He's right there at the top with his production and, like I said, his consistency. And I think that's the legacy that he will leave, and that's why I think everybody from Hawkeye Nation just so appreciates who he is. And I think that's the message that I have. I just told him, I just appreciate so much who he is, more so than what he's done. It's been an honor.
All right, next up, we have Mark Emmert with the Des Moines Register. Mark, if you could please unmute.
Yeah, Fran, obviously that's a team, you haven't seen a team quite like that all year, I wouldn't think. Like, how difficult were they to match up with on the perimeter?
Yeah, they anybody can bring it, anybody can go, everybody makes threes. They spread you out. It's a hard team to cover in so many different ways. So they stretch your defense. We tried man zone, we tried pressing them, had moderate success with all three, not enough in any one.
All right, our next question today comes from Chad Leistico. Chad, if you could please unmute and ask your question.
Hi, Fran. I guess just can you just paint a picture of what the emotions are like in the locker room, not only for the players but yourself?
Yeah, Chad, it was incredibly emotional, as it always is when your season comes to an end. This team and every other team this year has had to experience something totally and completely unique in the history of college basketball. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again, how proud I am of their commitment to one another and their sacrifice to get here. It's been an incredible journey with this group of young men, and a lot of people telling each other how much they love them. I certainly did, and how proud I am of them. But also, we had two seniors that literally rewrote the record book at the University of Iowa, which is quite a statement. And, so I talked for a while. It was real emotional. It's always emotional for everybody, in particular for me, when I think about specifically Patrick's journey, 7 years ago, he had surgery for a cancerous tumor. And, the other night I put him in on his birthday, and he was terrific in both games here. So that's emotional. But, you always feel a little bit empty when your team loses and you're eliminated. But I tried to stress the incredible amount of positive things that happened, great things we accomplished this year, great things we've accomplished as a unit over the last 2 years. And I wanted them to know how much I appreciate them, how proud I am of them, and how much I love them.
All right, our next question comes from Joey Dania. Joey, if you could please introduce yourself and your affiliation for the coach. Thank you very much.
Hi, Coach. Joey Dania, KWQC TV. This question kind of just piggybacks off what you were just talking about. Just once you have some time to look back on this season and reflect, how do you want to remember everything that took place this season?
Obviously for me, it'll be incredibly positive how we persevered. We've had a number of injuries. We lost 4 out of 5 at one point, but we just kept grinding and we stayed together. And that's what as a coach, that's what you want your players to strive to do. And I was really impressed with how they did that. Accomplished a lot of great things and celebrated 2 of the best players ever wear that jersey.
All right, our next question comes from Mike Halas. Mike, if you could please unmute and identify your affiliation, that would be great.
Mike Halas, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Fran, I know as well as anybody that now is not really a time for looking ahead, but what's the state of your program right now?
I think we have really good core of young guys who experienced what it's like to have winning people in your program and how to prepare and how to compete. So I'm really excited for the future.
All right, next up we have Billy Witz. Billy, if you could please introduce yourself and identify your affiliation. Thank you.
Hi, Fran. This is Billy Witz with the New York Times. You mentioned it before, just a little bit about all the things that have gone through. Its team has gone through, really many of the teams around the country. Does that add to? Sorry, I'm going to keep it. Does that add to the pain at all of, the players have put so, maybe even more into getting to this point than in a normal season? And does that maybe make the pain, a little sharper when you don't, when you maybe fall short of where you wanted to go?
Yeah, obviously this has been an experience none of us have ever dealt with before. It's been difficult, from the beginning, uncertainty as to whether we would be able to come back and play, whether we'd have a season, whether we'd play only conference games, would there be a tournament, would there be a Big Ten tournament, and just so proud of all the folks that made that happen, but most importantly, the players themselves, all of whom, not just the ones in our program, made so many sacrifices to get here. So I think the important thing is to appreciate what you've done, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, our last question today is a follow-up from Chad Leistico. Chad?
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. I apologize for not introducing myself earlier. Could you elaborate on I mean, you don't have to, it's not an excuse, obviously, but elaborate on the injuries to Connor and CJ and also Joe, obviously, going down there too. On how hurt were these guys playing down the stretch?
Well, I was really impressed with Wheezy's ability to come back. You know, he tweaked it. You know, it's the same one he hurt in the Wisconsin game. So he went to the back and he kind of ran it off and met with our doctor and our trainer, and they felt like he could go. CJ's in pain. Now he gutted through it for the better part of the games when he came back, and he was really good in some of them, but he hasn't been himself. You know, half the season. I'm just so proud of that kid for how he fought through and how he helped our team, particularly at the defensive end. I remember his defensive performance on Dwayne Washington against Ohio State when we won there. He just sacrificed and did what he had to do to help us win. You know, Connor has torn labrums in both hips, so he will have surgery forthcoming. Actually, 2 surgeries. They do one, then they do the other one. So he's been struggling all year long with that, but has consistently given us quality minutes and veteran leadership, and that was important for this team. So you know, we'll get those guys healthy and well in the summer.
Thank you, Coach. Really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
For those attending our press conference today, if you have questions for Luka Garza as he makes his way to the microphone, please go ahead and raise your hand now, and we will get started momentarily. All right, we are now joined today by Luka Garza with the Iowa Hawkeyes. If you have questions again, please raise your hand. We're going to start with our first question with John Schaefer from WOI. John?
John Schaefer, WOI. Luka, how do you sum up kind of the emotions of walking off the court today?
You know, it's you know, heartbreaking. You know, it's so surreal. You know, that, you know, it kind of just all hit me at once that, you know, this is the last time that, you know, I'll put on this jersey. And, you know, that's, you know, that hurts a lot. You know, I just, you know, I feel bad that I wasn't able to lead this team to where it needs to go. And, you know, we did a lot of really, really good things this year. And it just hurts that we weren't able to, you know, be able to, you know, do it when it mattered most. And, you know, that's something that's going to haunt me forever. But I've been so blessed and so lucky to be able to play here at the University of Iowa. And it changed my life. And, you know, I really, you know, truly did, you know, I did everything I could. And those guys in those locker rooms did everything they could. And we worked so hard. You know, when I came here my freshman year, we were 14-19. You know, we were one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. We were the laughing stock. And teams would come into our building and beat us by 30. There was no postseason for us. You know, there was no March Madness. And, you know, we would have made it 3 times after that. And obviously 1 year we got cut short. And the 2 years that we did have, you know, we were, you know, just couldn't make it past the second round. So it's incredibly heartbreaking. But, you know, I love those guys in that locker room. I love my coaches. Everybody in there really changed my life. And, you know, I just, you know, I did everything I could.
All right. Again, if you have questions for Luka, please use the raise hand function to indicate that, and I will call on you. Next up, we have Mark Emmert with the Des Moines Register. Mark?
Yeah, Luka, can you maybe describe for us the challenge of defending these guys? It looked like 1 through 5, they had really, really elite athletes, and I don't think you've seen a team quite like that this year.
You know, honestly, I don't think we have either. It was different. You know, they have a bunch of smaller guys who can, you know, they try to speed the game up really fast, and we can play that fast. And obviously, we showed that, you know, our offense had no problem today. We were able to score whenever we wanted to, but, you know, they pushed the pace really fast and made it hard for us to be able to get back and rotate and do all the things we needed to do to be able to get stops consistently throughout the game. And obviously, that's what, you know, led to us not being able to win this game. It's just we weren't able to get the stops necessary to do so. And, you know, that's unfortunate, but credit to them. They really moved the ball around well. And, we knew they were a good offensive team, but they played, really, really good, and they had a really good game plan, and they tried to move the ball as much as they could. And Richardson did a great job getting to the paint, and obviously Figueroa is an excellent shooter. He was able to, get some clean looks, knock them down, and against a team like that, you got to be able to get your defense back and set in the transition game. And they beat us in the transition game, and it's just that sucks. We had some looks that we couldn't knock down in the first half, but it was honestly we could score on them every single time, and we had a lot of good offensive possessions, but that doesn't matter when you're trying to win a game like this.
All right, our next question is from Grant Becker with Iowa's News Now. Grant, if you could please unmute and ask your question.
Luka, I'm sorry to make you do this, but what's the toughest part about all this for you? Is it that presumably this is your last game as a Hawkeye, that it was the last game with this group of guys, that it was before you expected to be out? What made it so difficult when you walked off the court there?
I really wanted to take this team and lead this team to where we could be, and I felt like this is a team where our season wasn't supposed to be over today, and that's upsetting to me because I just this everybody in that locker room worked so hard to be able to get back to this moment, and it's upsetting that we couldn't be able to excel and win the game. So that's obviously the most upsetting thing, but it's obviously I love the University of Iowa. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. These guys changed my life, and I worked as hard as I could. I played as hard as I could, and obviously it just hurts that it's over. And for me, it's added motivation to be able to do great things in the future. Obviously it won't be as a basketball player here at the University of Iowa, but I'm gonna do whatever I can to push myself to success in the future. And I just feel heartbroken that I couldn't with all the work that I did, I couldn't lead this team to where it needed to go, and that's something that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. And it's just upsetting to me.
Luka, our last question is going to come from Chad Leistico. Chad, if you could please introduce yourself and your affiliation. Thank you.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. I know it's been an emotional press conference thus far, but can you give us your thoughts as you got the call to come out of the game for the last time and started hugging everybody? I think you got it about everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of all hit me at once, just obviously looking up the scoreboard and knowing that, I will never, put on this jersey again. I think it just all hit me at once, and I was trying to tell those guys that, the next time that they get back there, back here, they're going to be able to push us to where we need to go, and I couldn't do it, but they can, and they're all a bunch of hard workers, and they're going to be able to do it, and I'm just so thankful and so grateful to have played here at the University of Iowa. I was ranked number 100 in my class, and a lot of teams stayed away, and they didn't want to recruit me. I was too slow. Everything. You can imagine, couldn't jump. He's not going to be able to score at the next level. All of this, and Coach McCaffery saw right through that. And guys like Connor McCaffery, Joe Wieskamp, who I met before I got to Iowa, they saw through that. They saw, me as a player who could come in and help this team and help this program. And, I worked as hard as I could to be able to do that to the best of my ability. And, like I said, when I came in here, we were 14-19. We were one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. Our season was over March 1st, the second day of the Big Ten tournament. And that, to come from there to here with, obviously a lot of the same, like some of the same players, me and Jordan Bohannon, Connor McCaffery, Austin Ash, Michael Bear, a ton of guys. When you talk about everybody who was there then, Tyler Cook, Nicholas Bear, everybody, and then Joe Wieskamp stepping in on our sophomore year, and us being able to get back, to the NCAA tournament and be that close to a Sweet 16 and to come here again. Obviously we would have made it last year, and then to come here again and fall short again, and not being able to get to, Sweet 16 and beyond, that's, it's heartbreaking. And, the one thing I know is that, I couldn't have played any harder. I couldn't have worked any harder. I put everything I could into this, and it just, it just wasn't meant to be. And, that's, like I said, that's something that's going to, sting for the rest of my life, because I won't ever have another opportunity at it. And, I do that, obviously, and then, I had that in my whole mind, every single time I've been on the court as an Iowa Hawkeye, that, there's always another game until it's your last. So, it's just upsetting. But, I'm so proud of this team, what we were able to do when we did so many great things, so many great wins. Got 14 wins in the best conference in America. And obviously, we had a lot of really good teams in the Big Ten. To be able to win, at Ohio State, number 4 team in the country, to be in a game against Gonzaga where it was number 1 versus number 3. If you would have asked me my freshman year at the end, we would be in a game, that we were number 3 in the country, I would have told you were crazy. So, there's a lot of things that we did over my time here that I'm proud of as a team. And I'm excited for the future of this program. Fran McCaffery, he changed my life, and he's changed so many people's lives, and he's the coach to do it. I just unfortunately couldn't lead us out in the court.
Luka, Garza, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. That's it for Iowa's postgame news conference. A transcript of the coach's interview will be provided by ASAP Sports at ncaa.com/transcripts. You can also find a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Monday.
All right, you ready, Steve?
I am ready. Yeah, I sent you a text a second ago, but if you can give everyone permission to record, I'm not a co-host, so it's not letting me do that.
Okay, you should have that ability now.
Okay. Yep.
Raise your hand if you haven't been given recording privileges.
John should be good.
We'll put this in the NCAA Digital Hub as well. So I got Joe here, no opening statement. We'll just go right to questions, okay?
All right.
Okay, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We'll go to questions. We'll start with Mike Halas.
Joe, just in a nutshell, where do you feel this game was lost?
On the defensive end, obviously. They're a tough team to guard. Credit to them. They have a lot of good athletic wings that can drive the ball so well. And so obviously you got to be ready for them to rip and drive, but they also can extend it out to 3. And they were hitting them tonight. So credit to them.
Matt Randazzo.
Joe, I know it was an eventful season, a successful season. What was the mood of this team, that locker room, the last hour or so?
I mean, everyone's just upset. We had big goals at the beginning of the season, and we had hoped to go farther. We knew that we had the guys in the locker room that were capable of doing that. So to come up short is just stinks for everyone.
Chad Leistacombe.
Hey, Joe. Tough moment. I mean, to see Luka Garza walk away, Jordan Bohannon walk away. Was this your last game as well?
You know what? I appreciate that question, but at this time, just soaking in what just happened, and I'll address that at a later time.
Tom Kakert.
Joe, how bad did you roll the ankle again, and how much did that impact you the rest of the way?
It was kind of more my Achilles. It was a sharp pain when I lunged back on that move. So it was just kind of a thing that was just kind of there for a couple minutes. Then was able to go away after a little bit.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Joe, how unique was this Oregon team that you just faced? I mean, it felt like there was 5 Joe Wieskamps on the court playing against you.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, they're a really good team. We got a lot of, long athletic guards that are really good shooters, but it can also rip and drive. And when they're driving and kicking and they're hitting shots, it's really tough to defend. And I think we need to do a better job of defending, their drives, because it led to open threes. But it's not one person's fault. We as a team defensively didn't do a great job, and they were hitting shots.
John Sears.
Yeah, Joe, season didn't end the way you wanted, but what do you take away from this season? And what will you remember about this team and the year you had?
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible season. A lot of ups and downs for sure. But the biggest thing is that, we were so connected through this whole time. None of us saw our families. We weren't able to go home. It was pretty much just, the guys in the locker room, the Iowa staff. We were around each other each and every day. And we had a lot of big wins throughout the season, as Coach kind of talked about after the game. Just, North Carolina coming in. That was one of our, our best games that we played as a team. To beat Wisconsin 3 times. Just some things like that, 14 wins in the Big Ten with how loaded it was this year. So definitely a lot of accomplishments that we had throughout the season, although we hope for more.
Matt Randazzo.
Joe, I know when the pandemic hit, you got to work and worked on your game. And I know you're a team guy, so you don't like talking just about your game, but where did you see yourself get better this year? Were you satisfied with what you did as a player and a person during this past season?
Yeah, I felt like I definitely evolved quite a bit as a player. Just, starting from the mental aspect of just realizing the way that they were guarding me and all the film that I watched this offseason and just how to attack different defenses. And I think I did a great job of, mixing it up throughout the season of not only just shooting threes or getting to the rim, but I had more mid-range jumpers. I felt like I was better in ball screen action, coming off Luka's screens, either for, a pull-up, get to the rim, or throw it back to him for 3. I think we did a good job of that throughout the year, just, picking and popping for Luka, and he was killing those 3s. So overall, I feel like, I improved a lot as a player.
Chad Leistacombe.
Do you feel what does Jordan Bohannon mean to this program? I know it probably hurts for him. We didn't get to talk to him, but to not be able to win this one today.
Yeah, I mean, he's he means everything to our team, the University of Iowa, the young guys. Just his leadership that he brings to the table, not only on the floor but in the locker room, in team group chats, things like that. Just having his presence around in the locker room, a guy that's been through it all, a guy that's been injured and, kind of had to, watch from a little bit back and see how the team unfolded last year. So he was a pleasure to play with. He's been a lot of fun to get to know as a person. And I know that he had a great career. Just a great, a great person and a great leader.
Mike Kloss.
I know you've commented on Luka many times over the last couple of years, but just your thoughts as you guys go your separate ways on what it was like to play with him.
Yeah, I couldn't be more thankful to play with a guy like that. When he made his decision to come back, and you could just feel, his energy and his passion towards what he wanted to lead our team to this year. And as you can tell today, we came up short, but just his leadership throughout this whole pandemic, all the ups and downs. He's just been a privilege to play with, get to know so much better as a person, and things that he does off the court, things he does in the off season that help make me a better player and a better leader as well.
Any other questions for Joe? All right. Thanks, Joe. Well, Chad, we'll go one more here. All right. Sorry. Chad, last question.
Yeah, sorry to keep you, but Fran let us know after the game that, CJ's, obviously we knew CJ was hurting and you were hurting, but Connor was hurting as well. Have you guys been battling through, I guess, more injuries than we know toward the end of the season as a team?
Definitely a lot of guys in the locker room that are banged up. Couldn't be more proud of CJ and Connor as well, just for the way that they battled throughout this season. I know it's been bothering them for quite a while now, kind of kept it under the radar, but just their ability to push through those injuries and give it everything they could. Even if, they weren't doing as well offensively as they hoped, they were locked in defensively. And I think that's one of the things that CJ did for us. Although he wasn't as big of a scorer as he's capable of, he's stayed locked in throughout the whole year, and a lot of times was defending their best perimeter player. So just credit to them for their toughness and battling out all season long.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, everyone.